What's up, guys? It's Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway, Frank Oliver and Company, coming to you today with Christian Olson and Andrea Soto.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
What's up, team? So it's October, a little late to the game.
Tis the season for Halloween.
Yeah, right? I've been gone for a while. How did everything go while I was gone?
It was great and quiet, and everyone was in a great mood.
Magical. I can't wait to hear all the transactions. Silence.
I have some good ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually went to your closings.
Which ones?
Well, Heather did, at least. She went to your final walkthrough and your settlement.
No, she didn't.
No, that didn't happen.
No, she didn't.
It didn't happen.
But I'm ching. Joke's on you.
What happened?
Yikes.
I took care of it.
Yeah, we went. He said
Okay.
Boom, roasted. Boom, roasted. Anyway, so my point of saying that is we were talking today about the scary myths that come in real estate. We talked a lot about myths, but there were a couple that came up today talking about like condition of the property and, you know, some of the other irrevocable fears. I think right now the big prominent one is interest rate. Mm-hmm. Right? Everybody's concerned about interest rate. Mm-hmm. And there's like anything that you could say. I mean, everything from like, what's the interest rate on your rental, bro?
100%.
Boom, roasted.
Right. I mean,
hey, that was going to be my TikTok today. Come on.
It still can be. But like, I feel everybody's just fearful. And in a moment of fear, I forget the quote. I'm going to look it up right now, actually. In a moment of fear, that's when, you know, successful people take the lead.
But I feel like these people have a moment of fear and they don't do any research behind it. Like they don't really have any justification besides something they heard from their aunt or their cousin or their mom or CNN or the news, right? Like
all of the above.
Literally. Like,
right.
They don't talk to a local real estate professional and they're just like, oh yeah, interest rates are through the roof. Like this is a terrible time to buy. Or like condition of the property. When it goes to inspections, it's your time to find all the problems about the home and nothing else.
Well, I mean, I think that's true of anything. I think what's heightened, you hit the nail on the head, is like mom is going to say, you know, oh, you shouldn't buy because interest rates are so high today. Well, what do you think is going to happen when interest rates go down? If interest rates go down, like who knows?
Right.
But like it's a supply and demand issue, right? So if interest rates went down and supply went through the roof, like so far through the roof, we might see a pricing adjustment down. But if interest rates go down and supply goes up, price is still going to stay constant or go up.
Right.
Like that's what happens in the real estate market. I don't know. It's a wild world that we're in right now. And I just think to myself, like, if you want to make money, you're sitting on 0.5% in the bank or you're sitting on negative equity in the stock market. Like what hurts? About 7%.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that I'm having conversations with, a lot of my clients that are kind of under contract, they're like, hey, Christian, am I making like a good decision? I kind of have this conversation with them about like, okay, what would they be paying in another year of rent? Like if their rent's $2,000, paying $24,000 in rent.
Yeah.
And then I'll even pull up smart charts. I don't know if you've used the website before, but it gives you the data about each market, whether it's by county or by city, whatever.
You don't even need to go to Smart Charts. Just go to Christian's TikTok.
True. Plug that in right here. But I'll even present them the data that like of the area that they're buying in. They're like, oh wow, so like, you know, in the past year, this community has grown by 9%. Like yeah, so like you're buying this $400,000 home, even if it grows by like a slow 2%, you're still gaining more equity than you probably were if you were going to be renting. I mean, you're not getting anything if you're renting, but like yeah.
Big facts.
Always. I mean, something that just kind of hit me was, you know, you think about what a tenant pays in 1 year. So $2,000 a month. What are they paying in a year?
$24,000.
$1,500 a month. 18.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I'm like, I can do
Right?
that right
Dude,
here.
I'm off caffeine now.
Well, but like, so let's just say you're paying $1,500 a month, which is pretty affordable. If you're sharing rent with somebody else, maybe you're paying $800 a month. But even still, if you're paying $1,500 a month, you're spending 18 grand. If you're paying $800 a month, you're spending basically 12 grand, right? So you're sitting there. Well, I guess it's more like 10 grand, but still, you're sitting there giving up somebody else cash so that you gain nothing except a place to live and like no maintenance.
I also think like these people that are renting, they need to be conscious of that and how much money that they're giving to this landlord or whoever, and they need to be putting hopefully a good amount aside as well so they can transition out of renting into home ownership.
Yeah, well, and that's another consideration is like maybe lowering your overall debt line. So a lot of people will talk about like, oh, I don't want to buy because, you know, for $2,400 a month, I get a gym included, I get this included, I get that included. I'm like, well, what if you just bought for $1,800 a month? And they're like, oh, I don't want that.
Right.
Because they're not like happy with the quality of their life. You know, keeping up with the Kardashians keeps them in like the apartment with a pool table, with a full, you know, gym and, you know, a bar in the basement and like this, that, and the other. But then if they were to buy for the same money, it would be like less than, when in reality, like 10 years from now, it's way more than.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest mistake that I ever made in my life was not buying sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
I say all the time, like if I could buy the biggest piece of shit when I was 21, I would have.
How long did you rent for?
Forever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like my
what does that look
story
like,
was
though?
different, right? Like, oh, I live with my mom, I live with my dad, I live with my friend, I went to rent, then I moved back in with my mom, then I moved to someplace else, then I moved to someplace else. You know what I mean? Like, it was never like, oh, I was paying $1,200 a month in rent. But like, even if it was just $600 a month, I could have bought the biggest piece of shit when I was 21 for $600 a month, and it would be worth like $220 today, $240.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would have bought it for $170, $160, $150, and it would have been $600 a month. And there were definitely times where my rent went up above $600 a month, like $900, $1,200, $1,500. All that time, I would have been paying $600 a month, and probably would have had a roommate helping cover the cost anyway.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you feel like you didn't want to sacrifice your, you know, who you were in that moment for your future self?
I didn't fucking know.
Feel
Like my parents were like, "You're going to college,"
Yeah.
and then my brother like failed, and they were like, "You can do whatever you want." And I was like, "Where was my you're going to college?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like my parents are like, "You're gonna buy a car," and then my brother crashed like 3 cars before I was 16, and they were like, "Well, if you want to." Right? Like, I never got the like beat you over the head with this idea that like fucking buy a house.
Right.
But like, if I could tell a 12-year-old anything, it's like save your money, stop buying ice cream, buy a fucking house.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because who just settled on Friday? Rossi. Fucking $2,000. You could tell a 12-year-old to not buy ice cream for the rest of their life, and from 12 to 20, they could save $2,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for $2,000, you could buy a house, and then you could literally set yourself up. So then as you look like today, if interest rates go up, we're at 7% today, 6.5%, 6.25%, 6%. I don't give a shit. Go mortgage lenders, right? Like,
Okay. This can kind of go into another topic of like people saying that they need 20% down. Do you know how much Rossi got in like seller help and also contribution from the city?
it was like $30,000.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Literally like
Yeah.
30 grand. 20 grand came from the city.
Was it Charlie Tour or no?
Yeah, that's where I met him.
Well, yeah, but they didn't use that.
Oh. Oh wow.
I don't necessarily.
No, he didn't use the grant.
Oh, not the Charlie Tour grant, no.
Yeah.
But then I think it was $8,500 from the sellers and seller credit for closing costs. So he
Right.
like
Definitely going to be seeing that.
I don't even
a
think
lot
he was out
more.
of pocket anything besides
Yeah, but, like,
inspection costs.
we've been seeing that the whole time. Like,
I mean, there was
I
definitely some
hear-
cases, but I feel like it's going to change buyers.
yeah, right.
You know,
Buyers
like
are going to approach the
buyer
conversation more.
agents
Yeah, yeah,
are
yeah.
going to approach it differently.
But-
now, if you came up to a property and they offered that immediately, then good, great, wonderful. But it's like I feel like buyers agents were not like, we should ask for it.
Well, and that's
you
that's
know,
the
like
problem.
that's definitely going to
you
be
hit the nail on the head, right?
Yeah.
If you want to have October scaries and you want to be scared of something, be scared of your fucking agent.
Yeah.
Right? Because for the whole fucking last 2 years, all I've heard is like, oh, you can't get a VA offer accepted right now.
Dude, when
Yeah,
I
that's
heard
wild.
that at one of the CE courses, and this
Right.
agent that was in the game for like must have been since real estate was created. She was that old.
I literally had
Like,
those type of
if
conversations.
She comes
in
across
CE.
this. I'm sorry, ma'am, but like she was saying, oh, VA offers are so much harder to get accepted, and I'm like, that's complete bullshit.
Right.
complete bullshit.
Yeah,
I
Mr.
do
VA,
90.
VA expert over here.
Yeah, I do like 90% VA deals, and we've never struggled.
Well, and there is a hurdle to
Hashtag
overcome.
no struggle.
Like, think about some of your clients that have decided not to buy. Like that one couple that I met way back when.
Yeah,
like there are definitely people
yeah.
that struggled, and I get it. And I'm not saying it's easy. All I'm saying is it's not hard. So when
Right.
people come at us and say, "Oh, now you're going to see more buyer closing costs get paid for," it's like, well, because you're asking for it.
Right.
Now, there's other people. Like if you go back into our portal, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but like there's a particular set of clients that we've been working with for a long time, like a long time. And they never wanted to make the fair offer. So if the house was listed for $330, they'd be like, "Oh, it's overpriced," and they'd want to offer like $314 with closing cost help. So like, yeah, we still did that, and we never got their offer accepted. But had they gone in and offered $342 with closing cost help, and yes, I understand you would have paid 30 grand more than you felt like you should have, but you know what? You'd be in a house today for 3%, not for 7%.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like the October scary is if you come in and you say like, "Oh, interest rates are high, 20% down, VA loan," like whatever the situation is, it's just like a fear.
Yeah.
Like, was it you, who sent me a thing to like go to a haunted hayride kind of thing? Was it you? I don't remember. Somebody sent, and I was like, "It's not my thing." Like, I don't really care. But people like pay to have
get
these
scared.
fears put in front of them. But then it's like real estate, like, and then they don't pay, which is the irony. Like, they choose not to pay.
That's fucking
Comparing
and then
real
they
estate
rent
to
for another 24
fear
years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
but
I had a client
it's like idiosyncratic.
that was renting for 5 years, and his rent went from like 1,400 to 1,700, fluctuated in that. And I was doing some math, and he paid.
I'm harnessing positive vibes.
Well, it's
Sorry.
not going to end positive. He paid $80,000 over the span of 5 years to his landlord.
Jesus.
And I'm like, dude, imagine if you had put that into a home,
Yeah.
right? Like, you could get that back out one day, but now it's all down the drain. And
Damn.
Yeah, but like, okay, so October scaries, we had a situation in one of our places the other day. The tenant hadn't paid their water bill. And the tenant's like yelling at me. And I'm like, "Dude, we paid it on your behalf so you could get water turned on so your family could have water. But like now you have to reimburse us." And he's like, "I don't think you understand. If I had gotten a bill, I would have paid the bill." And I'm like, okay, I could have chosen not to pay the bill and then your family would be without water. But like I did the right thing. And like you're yelling at me because I didn't take care of you when you're the one that's living in the rental in the first place. Like, don't you think that you should have been paying your bills on time up front, taking care of your credit when you needed to? Like, you wouldn't be the one with a family renting and disgruntled about it. It's the disgruntled piece that makes me know that you're a rental.
Yeah.
If you weren't so disgruntled, you would take care of the things that you need to take care of, work to better yourself, because everybody's going to end up in a situation where they're renting right now. But getting ahead of it. And don't hit me with the dumb shit that like some of the most successful real estate investors still rent. Like, if you're worth $50 million, you can rent too. But like, until then, F off. This is your biggest investment. It's the easiest way for you to grow equity.
Yeah.
I don't know. Soapbox. Harnessing good vibes. Sorry.
Monday rants.
I'm dead.
But I mean, it's true.
I feel that though.
It's true. Anyway, so kudos to Liv, right? I think she steals these. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really think that she goes online, she goes copy, paste, and puts it out for us.
I did not steal this.
It's like all original, coming straight from the brain.
Honestly, like, I think it's good things. Like, how often do we talk about R&D?
She
right?
probably
Like,
just like secretly videotapes you and just about your rants, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be next topic."
that would actually be pretty smart. Sometimes, like one time when we were away, I think I texted you and I was like, boom. Because it's like, sometimes you get into a really good conversation. You're like, this is what we need to talk about. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, so in the
Find out
script
next weekend.
today, find out next week. The paragraph was, like, there's a lot here, but the paragraph was, the truth is there is an abundance of little factors that are truly unique for each person in each situation. While it might not be the right for one person to buy or sell, that doesn't mean that it's not right for you. And I love that, because I say to my clients all the time, like, your sister, brother, cousin might have used a loan program that you don't qualify for.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that, like, I want X, but you don't qualify. So like, that doesn't work. But in this little paragraph, it just says it so nicely, like, There's an abundance of factors.
Yeah.
And so if you take a look at the abundance of factors and take away mom, dad, cousin, brother, whoever's going to like talk you out of it, take away the closing cost limitations or the VA thing or the whatever, like let's just figure out how you can do it.
Yeah.
And then if you're waiting for mortgage rates to come down, great. Be prepared.
Yeah.
So that when they come down, you can jump.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like all these little factors, you end up renting because you didn't take the time to actually qualify them.
Yeah, I feel like education at the end of the day, trusting your agent with the right education.
Dun, dun, dun. Somebody asked me today about an investment property. And the conversation was kind of weird. Talk about October scaries. She says to me, the neighbor across the street had a house on the market. It went under contract really quickly. It just fell apart. It's back on the market. I'm thinking about making a lowball offer. I go, okay, cool. She goes, well, I think they're never going to sell it because they have this like device in the basement that allows them to like pierce through the skin of their partner and hang their partner from the ceiling.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like weird. And
What
I was
the
like,
fuck?
Wait.
It's there's a term for it.
Wait.
I don't know what it is.
How does she know this?
right. That's what I said.
How do you just stumble across that
I saw it
information?
on
Then
TikTok.
I go to
TikTok
the
has
picture.
literally
I might be able to
everything.
find the picture. I go to the picture and I pull it up and I say, what about this picture told you that that's what's happening?
She's like, oh, I've
You
seen
have a picture of it?
it. She's like, I've been there. We do it on Wednesday nights.
Let's see. I'm just going to zoom in because I can do it like mathematically. Get it? Mathematically? But like mathematically?
Mathematically.
Get it. All right. So it's this house. I'm going to show you the picture. It's like a nice little house, right?
You
So
can
this
tell
is
by
the
the black
basement.
walls.
Right. I actually like thought about that. Like, right, you can see the black wall in the basement, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be weird.
Okay.
So then I'm like looking at these pictures of the basement.
Okay.
In case you guys want to go look, it is 2913 Shaw's Road in Edgemere, Maryland, 21219. Liv like immediately pulls out her phone. She's like, oh no, look. So I'm looking at this basement.
Okay. Where?
And I'm like, what?
Okay.
So it's got to be this thing on the ceiling, right?
Oh.
It's got to be this thing.
Right.
So I'm like looking at it and I get like really in, like, how do you know that that is what that's used for?
I mean, I've never seen one of those, so I can't. If we walked in the house and be like, "What's
but
that for?" I'd
has
be like,
anybody
"I
strung
have
you
no
up
one."
about your back skin?
No, I can't say they have, but because I've never come
We're about
across
to
one of
learn
those.
new things of Andrea.
Oh my God.
But I mean, obviously, she knows what it is because she knows what it is.
She said that people did digging. Anyway,
good.
point in case she says, I want to buy this house. I want to lowball them, blah, 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 blah. So we run the numbers. We pull up all the estimates and we say, hey, this is what it's going to rent for. This is what you're going to be into it for. This is what I think you're going to be able to be profitable for, right? And she's like, well, but I'm afraid of the interest rates. And I'm like, look, buy property today because tomorrow the price is going to go up. She's like, well, but the interest rates. I'm like, okay, well, buy today because you can refinance tomorrow. Well, but the interest rates. And I'm like, okay, don't buy. And she's like, okay, good.
Like, does she really want to buy at that point? Like,
She's
I don't
like, I just
understand.
want to convince this real estate agent to tell me it's a good time to not buy.
Right. Well, and people are crazy. Like they all have their own motivations for why they would say something. But like, in my opinion, she's the perfect example. A great qualified candidate who's looking to invest in real estate, who doesn't understand. And she even said to me, like, how do you know? How do you learn? Do I get access to the MLS? Like, what do I need to do to get to where you are? I'm like, well, you need 9 years of real estate experience. And I mean, like, that's honest to God's true. Like, I look at the MLS and I'm like, that one. And I pull it up and I'm like, oh, nope, never mind. That one. And they're like, well, what criteria do you look for? And I'm like, I don't know. I just know the neighborhood. I know the price range. When I see the price range in that neighborhood, it like perks my interest. And then I start to see little things like, oh, the countertop's been replaced, but the cabinets are original. But until you like walk into 500 houses a year, you don't acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So how, like, is she going to buy the place?
Well, I hope she's going to buy something, not that house. The numbers don't work out. But
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I don't want to find out either. But it's just
Maybe
like
they'll lower the
another-
price if she
Are
finds
they going
out.
to test that? Like, would they test that during inspection?
The thing that I don't understand is like I can't come up with another logical use for it. So like her logic makes as much sense as anything.
I don't know.
I mean,
Wait, you can Google photo it now.
What?
Google photo it. So take a screenshot of what it looks like, and then put it into Google, and then it'll
put the
show
photo
you.
into Google.
Yeah, you can put photos into Google now. Sponsor me. It's like
Okay,
That's
so
wild.
screenshot. Okay, got it. And then what?
so go to Google. Well, make it smaller. There was a better picture of that than
Okay,
in the other
fine.
one.
Delete. We're like full on.
Yeah,
If you guys want to see this, we can show
that
you.
one.
But this one doesn't have like.
Which one did you pick?
I don't know.
I told him the farther away one that has the whole thing in it.
That's what I did.
Okay.
Oh, this one. How about this one?
So you can put it into.
How about that one?
You can put it into
What is
Google
it?
and it'll.
Yeah, you have
No,
to.
you have to download like the Google app.
Oh, Liv, can you just download it and tell me? I'm just gonna Google.
Can you confirm
I feel
more
like a
than I
full
did?
on like
I
Monday
genuinely-
morning
I
radio
Googled-
show.
I googled like device to hang from your back skin.
Live season finale.
Oh my
and then
God.
I had to, like, exit out of the page. because I don't
Therapy
know-
sessions pulled up.
What I was looking
I'm dead.
for. Scar.
Oh my god. Immediately goes to the photos tab.
Tonight,
Body suspension. Oh, God bless.
I don't want to. This is too much for a Monday morning, guys.
I feel like it's a full on like show. There you go. Yo, God bless.
Oh
I
my
found
gosh.
visual matches.
What?
It's just too much.
No, yeah, don't look at it. Like, it's horrible.
Ugh.
That girl looks like a fish
I think it is, though.
Does it
with a
not?
hook in her mouth.
Like it has to hurt.
This dude is in
right?
like yoga pose. Like it can't hurt that much.
Dude.
And I don't like.
I'm not
it's making me feel
trying
weird
it.
right now. I don't like that.
Yeah, it will make you feel weirder if you actually look at it.
Meanwhile, like as you guys are wondering, like how we ended up on this topic, we were just talking about like the weird things about real estate and like
Talk about
scaries.
scaries.
I mean, here's the thing. In my opinion, I'm hopeful that investing in real estate more and more and more is going to pay off in the long run. I think for you right now, you don't have 2 years of trackable income as a self-employed borrower. You don't have great background. You don't have great anything, right? From a mortgage lending standpoint, they're going to be like, what do you want us to do with you?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I want you to give me a mortgage loan based on the rental like income. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, sure. And you're
Yeah.
going to buy something that you could rent out. Maybe you don't make any money, but like in the next 2 or 3 or 5 years while you're preparing yourself to buy,
Yeah.
you already own a property that's growing in equity over the next 2 or 3 or 5 years.
I was gonna say, like, even if you're not making anything, you're making something.
Right.
Correct.
Like,
So like what's stopping you from going out and buying an investment property today? What's stopping you from going out and buying the investment property today? Here's the numbers that I say in my head, right? If you're listening to this or you're thinking about this, right? You're paying $800 a month in mortgage. Let's just say it's $1,000 for round numbers. You're paying your landlord $1,200. If it took you 2 years to get yourself into a position, you're paying $24,000 to nothing. If you were to save a little bit each month and you were to buy a $210,000 property, which is roughly going to put you around $1,000 a month. Yes. Maybe I'm a little bit over edge. Maybe it's more like 170.
yeah.
Okay. So let's just say it's a $170,000 property. Let's just say it's a piece of junk. It's in a neighborhood that you wouldn't normally buy in. You're not ready to move there. You don't want to buy it, but you know what? You do anyway.
Yeah.
You're putting your $12,000 a year into equity build. You might get a roommate because you currently have a roommate, right? So what's the difference? Your roommate's helping you pay down that mortgage or improving the property or putting in a new HVAC system or putting on a new roof. And over the next 10 years, if I had bought when I was 21, in 10 years' time, that $170,000 house would grow and appreciate, hopefully at 3% a year, maybe more.
Yeah.
So 3%. I mean, you're looking at an equity growth of probably right around 200,000, maybe a little bit more in 10 years' time. And then you're also more than 200, probably closer to 210 or 215. And then you're also paying down your mortgage, which in 10 years, you're going to pay about 23% off of on your mortgage, 23% off of a $170,000 house minus a 5% down payment.
Wait, you said 23% in 10 years?
Takes 8 years to pay 20%.
Okay.
Right? So 23% of 170 minus 5% down payment, you're probably looking at, $135,000 mortgage balance. Your house is now worth 210.
Yeah.
You have $80,000 in equity in 10 years time while I was renting my whole life away. Meanwhile, I didn't buy a house. I scrapped together every penny I could to buy a $250,000 house. And then I had nothing. And then I built up from there. Well, what if you did it when you were 21 and you walked in with 20% down?
I feel like this should be taught in high school at this
Yeah,
point.
right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I took
The test should be, should I buy a house? Yes or no? And if you say yes, you graduate.
both
If you
ways.
don't, you stay in high school.
yes or no instead of yes or no, just yes and yes.
Right. Yes and yes.
Yeah, it's like that in taxes. Like, what the fuck? What did we
What
learn?
time at 9 a.m. does the conference start tomorrow? What time on your 21st birthday will you buy a house? Right? Like, it should just be simple.
Yeah.
Like, pick a day. But it's true. Like, you don't have any income that would qualify you for a mortgage.
I acknowledge
You
that.
should
Thank
just
you.
buy a rent-backed mortgage.
How about you help me get a loan?
You don't
and
need
then
me.
we can pick out a property for me.
You don't need me. I mean, I'll do it because it benefits me, but you don't need me.
I know I don't need you.
Okay, fine.
I want you though. I know you don't get that often. It's okay.
It's too late.
But someone
Anyway.
does, because Mr. over here is
YOLO,
engaged. Okay.
Anyway, all right. Well, as always, lots of things to talk about. We could keep going for days and days and days. But I think the key for me today is to realize that, like, in today's market, in tomorrow's market, in yesterday's market, we can always talk about what could have been. And if you bought a house 3 years ago, if you guys have people that bought a house over the last 10 years, they're not going to want to sell because they don't want to get the mortgage rate that comes with today. Well, what if they reinvest their money into a rental? What if they buy another property? What if they buy a second home, fulfill their lifelong dream to own a home in Cape Hatteras? Like, whatever. It's not the time to back away from the market. It's the time to use your opportunities strategically so that you're ready for the next chance, not wait for the next chance.
Yeah.
It's my opinion.
Big
Buy the
facts.
damn house.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys real soon. Look forward to it. If you need to reach me, you can always reach me at MichaelFrank __ on Instagram or on TikTok at FrankOliverCo, FrankOliverCo.com. And Christian?
Christian the Deadhead on Instagram and the Deadhead Realtor on TikTok.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you can reach me on TikTok and on Instagram at Drea _Soto and by email at Andrea at FrankOliverCo.com.
Dun, dun, dun. Look forward to it next week, guys. Talk to you real soon.
Later.
Bye guys.